Hi and hello everyone, Anthony Fantano here, internet's busiest music nerd. I hope you're doing well. And it's time for a weekly track roundup, the first of 2025. Weekly track roundups are back. Yay, yay, yay. Everybody's cheering. Can you hear it? Everybody's happy about that. My thoughts on a bunch of songs that have dropped over the past week or so. And yeah, everything I talk about is linked down below, regardless of how I felt about it, so you can check it out for yourself. Surprisingly, despite it being so early in the year, we have quite a few cuts to talk about, so let's get into it. A quick shout out to our Turntable Lab affiliate link. If you use it to buy some vinyl, some speakers, some records, some record players is what I meant. I don't know why you would buy more than one of those, but if you did and you use that link, we get kickback from it, which is cool, is dope, is sick. So that is down below. Thank you very much. Also linked down below is our Patreon page. Get some extra bonus monthly content while supporting us in the process. Extra Patreon only Let's Argues, classic album live streams, access to our Discord community too. Check it out. Thank you. And we appreciate you joining up if, in fact, you do. Also, our YouTube Shorts page, where we are putting up a lot of short-form content. And then, finally, the needledrop.com revamped news website with regular stories going up all the time. Okay. All right, continuing on to the worst tracks of the week. There are a handful. There are a few, starting with Smile. This new one from Morgan Wallen. Didn't take the guy too long to come out with, pretty much your generic, low-key, sad, average, everyday, millennial, stripped back, spacey, atmospheric ballad. It is tiresome because this formula has been done over and over and over and over. We just don't need it again because it's Morgan. All right, moving on from there, we have Jack Harlow with a new single, Tranquility. I mean, it's tranquil enough to put me to sleep, I guess. Some forgettable bars, forgettable vibes. Per usual, Jack just makes very polite hip-hop for kids that want to play a rap song in front of their mom, essentially. Like, that's kind of the vibe of Jack's stuff at this point. Finally, Lil Baby has the deluxe edition of his new Wham record out. We've barely had time to digest the album itself, but the deluxe is already out. We have a track from it with Future titled 99, and yeah, no chemistry, no vibes, and Lil Baby continues to be one of the most successful mediocre rappers out there today, and this song is certainly continued proof of that. It's barely even a track, not even 2 minutes, just kind of comes and goes with the breeze. Really nothing special about it whatsoever. All right, moving on from there to the tracks that I thought were meh, not terrible, not blowing me away, somewhere in the middle. You might enjoy them more than me. They are as follows. One, new TOKiMONSTA single, which, believe me, I really want to like. I think the beats on this track are bumping. I like that Group Therapy, up-and-coming pop and rap duo Group Therapy, is featured on the song. I think there are catchy and, again, very enjoyable elements of this track. I do like, again, that, I keep saying again, that Y2K era dance pop vibe coming off of this track. But with that being said, the vocals are kind of buried. The production's a bit too washed out to feel as textured or as distinct as it should be. It's kind of missing a bit of boldness in its instrumentation. So I feel like it's kind of holding it back just a touch. Moving on from there, Lil Texas, Holy Calamity. While this is, your usual brand of quality, Lil Texas, hardcore techno, it is abrasive, it is fast, it is going to get your blood pumping. I kind of feel like he's painting himself into a little bit of a corner with this track. On top of it, it's not exactly like the vocal sample is like the best inclusion, especially considering how incessantly it plays throughout the song. With that being said, though, if you ever do get a chance to see Lil Texas live, I definitely recommend it. Bring some earplugs; it'll be the rave of your life. All right, Teddy Swims has come through with a brand new collab cut to Are You Even Real is the title of it. I mean, Teddy's approach to soul and soul infused pop was already pretty generic and watered down as it is, and I feel like this track even more so. It's sweet, it's listenable, it's passable. There's certainly nothing offensive about it, that's for sure, but there's nothing really all that special or interesting about it. Either very boyish vocals, very sterile instrumentation. It plays as passionate, but it reads as just very formulaic. Moving on from there, we have a new one from Squid, another track that I really wanted to enjoy, Building 650, but this one to me from this, up-and-coming art rock and art punk outfit just kind of felt like, I don't know, a Fugazi song, but with like some extra steps, and there wasn't really a point where I think the vocals quite nailed it. The ending really fizzles out. I feel like it's bringing a lot of what I have enjoyed about Squid's music in the past, but it's quite, I don't know, it's just coming up a little short. It's missing something, pizzazz, that previous tracks have featured, in my opinion. We have one over here as well that I want to point to from Youth Lagoon. Speed Freak is the name of the track. A song whose bass line and beats gets a little repetitive at points, but, with that being said, definitely one of the seedier, experimental, underground, homespun, rock and pop tracks that I have heard this month. One of the more interesting ones, I guess I'll say that. All right, moving on from there, also Jethro Tull. The Tull! Tull! Thick as a brick Tull! They're back. And they've come through with a song that essentially sounds like a ghost track. I mean, maybe ghost sounds more like that. Maybe that's really the way to put it. But Curious Ruminant is the name of the song. Look, from the lyrics to the flutes to the riffs, I feel like this track has a lot going for it. Tull is sounding a lot better in this stage, these twilight years of the band's career than many groups are who came from a similar era, or even, 10 to 20 years after the era that Tull was most relevant. But, with that being said, I feel like this track really kind of needed the guitars and drums pumped up just a little bit to make the heavier, more rockin' sections really contrast and feel visceral in comparison with the super theatrical, dramatic, almost spoken word verses, but still, despite that shortcoming, I feel like this track has a lot going for it. All right, and shout out to JADE, new single "It Girl" is the title. Look, this track hits. I just feel like it's a tad bit, I'll say, derivative. There's elements of like Gaga and Chapel and Charlie, and there's a lot of things getting mixed together into this track. It's done well. It's just not exactly like super distinct in the current era of left field dance pop, which, it's cool that, still even like I would say B tier songs like this are coming out of it are still sounding pretty sick. And, it's for anybody who's a super big fan of that style, you're eating, okay? Thanks to tracks like this, and certainly looking forward to what JADE is doing after this song. There's been a lot of singles and teasers in the lead up to the next project that have, at the very least, shown a lot of effort and shown that there's most certainly something there to look out for. Oh, Clipping has a new one out as well. One that I'm not super crazy about, unfortunately. Change the Channel is the title of this one. And, while I have appreciated that the group is embracing dance beats a little bit more, I feel like they're leaning a bit too much in like the Prodigy direction on this new track, and David's sort of screamed, rapped vocals to my ears come across as a little awkward. I feel like this could have used some fine tuning or something. It's trying to go hard, but it's not quite landing as fully visceral. And, again, there's something about David yelling on this track that just kind of feels okay, and maybe not as sick or as nasty as like when you're just kind of straight rapping. The flows are great though, and the production is certainly textured and colorful per usual, with Clipping's level of quality much of the time. All right, moving on from there, best tracks of the week. We have quite a few of those. Again, busy, a lot of stuff to talk about. So let's get into it. Spelling. Brand new Spelling album cycle. First single from it, Portrait of My Heart. It is dramatic as hell. It is a straight up rock anthem with powerful soaring vocals, patient riffs. I would say very, kind of like middle of the road pacing. It's like I guess like as close to a bit of a Radiohead / arena rock song that we're going to get from Spelling, unless the rest of this record is going to go rock. I don't know. But I think it's a style, it's a sound that Crystal's voice really kind of lends itself to, interestingly. So I'm looking forward to hopefully hearing, more get uncovered with the potential of that, given just how great this track came out. All right. Next one, we have Jane Remover. The track over here is titled JRJRJR. This is madness. This is pure fucking madness. What Jane Remover is doing on this track is, like, I would say embracing some of that, rage style hip hop a bit, in terms of like the repetitive beats and kind of the heavy, thick production, the distortion and everything, the heavy use of autotune on the vocals, but like they are doing their own thing with it, like definitely twisting it in an interesting and unique way. In a single song, creatively speaking, Jane Remover is outpacing Opium on this track. I'll say that. All right, we also have Rebecca Black, who is absolutely smashing it on the single front with 2 tracks for a forthcoming project that's looking to be pretty short, but if it's all killer, no filler, I'm not complaining. The track over here is titled Sugar Water Cyanide, and it's one of the quirkiest, most all over the place pop cuts I've heard in a minute. So many changes. It's so crazy. I mean, you could definitely hear like the Gex or the hyperpop influence, but it feels like it's doing something, slightly different. You can hear that Dorian Electra influence a little bit too, I would say. It's off the wall, but kind of in its own way, and I respect it for doing so. Again, really looking forward to the project Rebecca's going to drop this year. Also liking the new Panda Bear single, Ferry Lady, which is such a chill, enjoyable vibe. Panda Bear, as far as I'm concerned, is 2 for 2 with these new singles. The one with Cindy Lee and this one over here. The vocals are solid. The production is funky and splashy. It's playful. It's feel good. Again, liking it quite a bit. Shout out to Panda Bear. All right, moving on from there, we have a posthumous Mac Miller single, Balloonerism. New album is on the way soon. This track pretty much sounds like it's from, about like that Movies with the Sound Off or like Good AM era, which I think is like one of Mac's stronger eras creatively. It's a very kind of carefree, happy-go-lucky kind of tune, and while he doesn't come through with it he doesn't come through on it with the strongest singing voice, it's very infectious in terms of like it having a positive attitude to it. Again, it's fun, it's tongue-in-cheek, it's a good track all around. All right, we have a Pup, who I think has come through with their heaviest single yet. Paranoid is the name of the track, and while this band usually kind of like hovers between punk, pop punk, and indie rock, like the riffs on this track by Pup's usual standards are most definitely massive and like hard hitting. Just like some hefty riffs on this one. A very grandiose crescendo around the bridge as well. It's got a nice, strong, epic structure to it as well. The rock fans, take notice for this one, okay? Take notice. All right, moving on from there, Ghais Guevara has a new record on the way and multiple singles out from it. But if you are a left field hip hop fan, a JPEG Mafia fan, that sort of thing, I feel like you're most definitely going to want to hear this track over here. The Old Guard is Dead. Very lo-fi, very aggressive hip hop, solid bars, big beats, crazy sample chops. It is total chaos and thrilling from end to end. A couple more. We have a Dan Behar of Destroyer fame with Dan's Boogie, new single, new album cycle. And it's great to hear Dan kind of going back in, I would say like vaguely tropical, vibey, dramatic indie singer-songwriter pop. I'm really liking what he's doing on this track. I like the inclusion of the feature over here. Long live Destroyer. I will say that and leave it there. Also, shout out to Darkside, Nicholas Jar's, I don't want to say side project at this point. Like, obviously he comes through with a lot of solo material under other pseudonyms, but Darkside is, more of a collaboration effort that he has released at least a few records within. And there are 2 singles out so far for this upcoming Darkside album titled Nothing, SNC and Graucha Max. And these tracks are friggin' killer. Like, not only do they have like, you know, the guitar and the slight like, you know, rock and fusion influences that have made the Darkside music that has been released up until this point interesting, but on top of that, I feel like there's like a bunch of funky dance beats and breaks that are getting thrown in, and samples too, that feel like Nick is kind of bringing in some ideas and influence from his Against All Logic side solo effort. It's kind of crazy. You have to be familiar with Nick's back catalog to sort of like see where the various ideas on these tracks are coming from. But even if you're going into these songs blind, these tracks are a cavalcade of, you know, samples and dance beats and guitars and funk influences and rock influences. It's crazy. It's crazy. And yet, despite all of that coming together, it's so seamless and so well orchestrated. It's just absolutely nuts. These singles to me are some of the best I've heard in quite a while. Not even just this year. We're a month, barely a month into this year, obviously. But you know, this is definitely, as of right now, thanks to these two tracks, this Darkside album, Nothing, is my most anticipated album of 2025. And I'm hoping for a blowout here, given how good these two tracks are. All right, and finally, shout out to the one and only Japanese Breakfast, Melancholy Brunettes, and Sad Women, forthcoming project. And over here we have what is essentially the first single from it. Orlando in Love is the title, though, you know, there is kind of like a mention in the lyrics, a reference to the, you know, sad women and, you know, sort of trope in the title of the album. It might as well have been like the title track in a way. And it's a shorty, but it is lavish. It is beautifully orchestrated. It is beautifully sung, really just gunning for that sad girl demographic and doing so with incredible production. And I don't know, I'm pretty excited to hear how that works out, given just how epic, musically speaking, the presentation is on this new track. And that is going to be it for the weekly track roundup, everybody. Thank you very much for watching. Hopefully you got some good recommendations out of this video. Woo! I will see you guys in the next one. Over here next to my head is another video that you can check out. Hit that up, or the link to subscribe to the channel. I feel like this weekly track roundup went okay. First one back, a little rough, but we're getting back into the swing of things. Okay, see you guys later. Weekly tracks forever.